Greetings. I hope this message reaches you guys well. I was guided to talk about this. I was sitting on this for a little bit because I didn't know if I was in the right space to deliver this message and stuff like that. Please take only what is confirmation or speaks to you. If something is confusing or conflicting, always go inside and ask spirit to clear it up for you, reveal it, whether it's meant for you or it's not. Because I don't want to confuse anybody. All I'm here to do is, share what I've been given, and if it's meant for someone to resonate with it, however they're meant to resonate with it, cool. If it provokes some type of thought or if it triggers someone, that may be good as well. If it leads you to where you're supposed to be, that's of your highest good. Okay, so this isn't me, trying to come at anybody any type of way. I do this with love, and I hope that this helps somebody. I hope this brings clarity to you, peace to you, maybe further understanding of something. Okay. So I wanted to talk about like the essence of what a true divine connection is, because I feel like it's a lot of misinformation and confusion as it pertains to what a divine connection is. Definitely at this time, do protect your energy, do protect your heart when it comes to this. Um, Allow spirits to guide you and lead you, okay? Don't just take what an outsider says, and that includes me, you know, as the complete gospel or whatever, okay? So, spirit guided me to look into, you know, what divine means, because we use that term so loosely, what a soulmate is, what a divine counterpart is, and stuff like that. And it's like we're labeling a lot of connections and things that aren't simply divine. So it should, we would think should be easy to discern what is, um, what is divine and what isn't, right? It should be easy to be like, okay, no, this ain't my divine because they're not acting divine. And it's not to say that we don't have moments where we are in our ego and stuff like that, where we could be, acting up, acting crazy. But at the same time, again, it's like if a person is constantly and continuously choosing to stay in their ego, remain in that place, it's most likely they're not, okay, divine. All right, so I looked up the word divine just to get more of a, a basic understanding of, break it down, right? So divine is a form or like God or a God, okay? Well, what is God? The dictionary says it's a Christian concept, the creator and ruler of the universe and source of all moral authority, the supreme being. Morals is up for anybody's interpretation, anybody up to anybody's reality and perception of what moral is. So we won't get too much into that. But as far as, you know, the divine being like your creator, the ruler of the universe, the supreme being. And I asked, okay, well, let's go further into it. What is supreme? Supreme represents an authority or an office or someone holding it, superior to all others, or unified force with a supreme commander. Okay. So if you ask, okay, well, what is it like to be divine? And to be divine is to be like what? To be like God, right? Your creator. Your creator is infinite. The creator is in all things and is all things, the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning, the end. Um, God is love. Everything stems from the essence and energy of love. If you're operating from anything else but that, it's almost like it's an imbalance. Everything stems from the essence of love. God is unchangeable. So to be divine is to be unchangeable. It's to be rooted. It's to be structured. It's to be 100, right? Self-sufficient. Self-sufficient is a big one. This is the self-sufficiency is I don't need you necessarily, not in a codependent, imbalanced unhealthy, toxic way. I'm self-sufficient in myself. I'm full. I'm whole as I am. Um, all powerful. So omnipotent being, which God is, all powerful, all things. So if you are like God, you're powerful. You are also a manifestation of all that is. We all are manifestations of all that is. Wise, divine spirit is wise. So wisdom is not from an intellectual standpoint. So I'm not wise because I read this such and such book, or because I went to school here, or I'm a scholar in this. Wisdom is the inner understanding and the act of divine, that act behind it with divine precision. So it's like a divine inner knowing, divine intelligence, divine compass and guidance. Faithful. God is faithful. A lot of people are not dealing with faithful people. If you can't be faithful to yourself, because a lot of times people self-sabotage themselves, a lot of times people don't trust themselves, so a lot of times you're not trustworthy if you can't trust yourself. If you don't honor and respect yourself, if you're not loyal to your own self, what how would that manifest in other relationships? And if it is, it's most likely a false loyalty, a false sense of trust. It's not a healthy balance if you don't have it within you, or you don't have that trust or that faithfulness with your creator. God is all things good. So when I speak of God, I'm not speaking of a Christian standpoint of what God is. I'm speaking of an infinite power, divine source being. So when you think of God, God is all things good. Just as there's shadow, there is light, but God brings forth the good things in life. God is just and fair. God is merciful, forgiving, and compassionate, because we're perfect in our essence of who we truly are. When we are out of alignment with ourselves, whether that be through dabbling into lower vibrational energies and things, or lower vibrational thoughts, feelings, emotions, actions, our wounds and things like that, it doesn't take away from our perfectionism as we are, if that makes sense. So divine spirit is compassionate, merciful, and forgiving automatically. We are a part of this source being. God is gracious, sacred and holy, glorious, which is infinite beauty, light, and radiance. So you know how you see certain couples and they just look beautiful together, and I'm not talking about because they got matching Rolexes or whatever, or matching cars or whatever, or this person looks handsome and she looks cute or whatever, her waist is snatched. Nothing like that. It's an essence of an energy. Like they radiate something together. Like them being together is like this beautiful energy, and it affects other people around them. It activates other people. It's a contagious energy. It's a beautiful energy. um you can see the love, you can see that divinity within the person individually, because the thing is too, with divine connections and being a divine counterpart, as they say, you're already walking in your divinity. Or there may be points in times where you don't always feel like you're your best, and there could be times where you have shitty moments and stuff, but if you're in the grace of divine love and divine energy, it shows you. There's something different about you. There's something about your energy that radiates and that glows and that other people are attracted to. To be walking into your divinity is to be in divine authority in your life. And that doesn't mean in an egotistical sense where, oh, you just operate and just do whatever you want, wreak havoc in your life and other people's life with no type of thought or feeling. That's where the divine wisdom comes in. But spirit will give you that position because you can handle it. Spirit knows that you'll do righteous with your authority. And also divinity also represents innovation and creativity, evolution and mastery too. So it's a powerful energy. It's not that you're just down here just to live for nothing, or to be nothing, or to just have some higher power above you just tell you what to do. No, you have that power. It's a shared energy. You are one with the creator. The creator is within you. With these connections, you're not able to control it with your ego because it is divine. Divine intervention is unfolding in this. So whether it's your higher self, the source being, divine, your spiritual guides, your ancestors, that all are working in favor of your divine path and your divine union, your ego is not going to be able to control it and pick this out. It's not going to say, oh, I want to be with him or I want to be with her instead because of this or because of that, or I get to choose the time and the place that it happens. Your ego doesn't get to do that. The ego is limited, it's ignorant, in comparison to the infinity of the divine source. The ego was only able to see things from its past experiences, others' experiences, what's in front of them and what's behind them, if that makes sense. So the ego is not infinite. It can't see past where it's been and where it's at. So, yeah, you're being guided to step into what's unfolding and what's waiting on you to align with it. So with a divine union, you're always guided. You're being guided into what's already unfolding. It's like a red carpet. Everything is mapped out for you. It's a compass. It's like it's already set in the GPS system. So whether you delay the path by stopping off here, going there, rather than going where the map takes you, whether there's some unexpected challenges or you perceive that it's some unexpected stuff where it may delay the timing or it may delay the process or it feels like it's a delay, that address is already put in the divine GPS system to get you to where you're supposed to be, and vice versa with your person. So, yeah, in these connections, we're always divinely led in them. When you're in the divine covering of spirit, you're in your divinity, you're always guided and led in everything that you do in your path. Always, even when you don't feel like it or know it. A non-divine connection is not being promoted by your divine team. Like, they don't support it. So if it's a non-divine connection, they're not going to support it. They're not going to encourage it, right? So to promote, what does promote mean? To further progress something, especially a cause, a venture, or an aim, support, or to actively encourage. So you could tell when your spiritual teams do not support you in certain things, in certain paths, because they're not pushing it. They're not making way for it, right? Spirit is not making way for these things to unfold. As my sister says, delay does not mean denied. So don't mistake it as a delay, because the ego may want things to happen at such and such time, but the higher self says otherwise. Divine orchestration says otherwise, and it's because it can see things further beyond than what you can see in reason. But yeah, your team will conspire with you both in support and encouragement of your connection by lining things up for you both. So they would make things happen in favor of you too. They'll move mountains for the connection. Especially when you're facing adversity, they'll make way for certain things. It's like when the GPS system warns you that there's traffic ahead on this direction you're about to take, it detours you to a better way to get to your destination. Even if that means it's going to take some time to get there, or you got to go through, maybe you didn't want to take the streets, but rather than getting caught up in traffic. So just take it as such that your spiritual team will make way for this. It's not going to be, if you feel like there's always great force or a lot of manipulation going on, it's most likely it's not being promoted by your spiritual team. If you're constantly being met with oppositions and blockages, as if a door is jammed and you can't get it open, or like a door, you constantly knock on it but it never opens, it's most likely it's not being supported. Okay, with these connections, these true divine connections, there comes great responsibility, because both of you are natural born leaders. You guys may also be naturally pulled towards authoritative positions, or you may be pulled in authority positions and you may feel like, oh, that's uncomfortable, or people assume your leadership position. You may also be someone that a lot of people look up to or look to for advice, or you influence others. So you guys are naturally born to lead and to inspire other leaders. It's not followers. That's the difference. Like, you're not here to create minions and clones. Like, you guys are helping to activate other people into their divinity as well. You guys are an example on your own and together. So your team isn't going to sell you short by pairing you up with someone that, doesn't match your divinity. Like, a lot of people are doing themselves disservices by settling because, oh, we've been together since high school, or, oh, we got a baby together, or what will my family think, or oh, they look good, or they have this, or, oh, they got money. Like, stupid things that don't matter, or out of fear even. Oh, I don't know how I'm ever going to leave them, and such. I don't think I can do better than this. Like, those, whatever limiting things, it's a disservice. Like, spirit will never put you in a situation with a toxic person, someone that refuses to evolve and to grow within themselves for themselves. Like, if they don't want to do better for you themselves, why would they want to do better for you or anybody else? So you got to think of it. Like, spirit is not going to play you like that. It's a difference between divinity and toxicity, deception. Um, and also that as well, like, you don't want to be a disservice to others around you, because bad connections also influence people. They also affect people. They affect children. They affect people in the midst of them. So you don't want to be in a relationship with somebody that's toxic for you, that will be toxic for your children and generations to come, and so on and so forth. You got to think of it that way. Because good and bad relationships, they have the power to influence and affect others in its environment, whether that's even subconsciously. But another point too is, just because God or your spiritual team, the universe, whatever you want to call it, was not promoting your past relationships, doesn't mean that you weren't being protected or that they weren't by your side. Oftentimes it's our ego that leads us. Spirit was not doing that. It was us. It was our ego. It was our wounds, etc., leading and guiding those relationships. You got to be careful not to. It's 4:40 and it's 11% on my phone. You got to be mindful of not falling into the trap of signs and synchronicities and stuff, because what I've noticed is I've witnessed and have experienced different synchronicities and phenomenons with people that were bad for me, platonic and romantically. So you gotta be a little more discerning of, and asking spirit, what are you showing me? Why is this here? What does this mean? Rather than just, oh, I saw 1111. Oh, I saw their name. That must mean we're meant to be together. You got to be more aware of that. And I always say that to people. You got to be mindful. Another thing, too, about divine connections is that purpose is key. If you're not, and they're not focusing on their purpose or soul fulfilling things, like, you're not focusing on what fulfills your soul, not temporary things like, oh, I'm gonna have I want to be a millionaire just because. Like, if there's no aim, there's no purpose, there's no goal, no soul focus of fulfilling your soul, then most likely it's not a connection, and it will most likely be very complacent rather than growing. If it's a short aim, oh, I just want to be famous, or, oh, I just want to be rich. Oh, I just want to, for what? What's the purpose? What's the aim? What's your goal? How is that fulfilling to your soul? Because your divine matches is going to inspire you to break free of the old aspects of you and trigger you to growth. Also, it triggers you to find your true self and also break down the false self. There's a lot of catalysts that spark and do those things already, but with your divine partner, they make you want to be a better person for yourself. Like, they make you question yourself, make you question your life. Like, am I really happy? Do I really want to do this in life? Are these people healthy for me? It makes you think about your life and where you want to be, and it brings you closer to yourself, like your true self, to dig deep into that. And they will also inspire you to be closer in spirit with your creator. And that's the most beautiful part of it, is they push you to your divinity within yourself, to find out what that means, how to further it, and how to either start deepening your connection with your creator, or to further deepen and open your eyes to the beauty of God, meaning the infinity of this entire existence in this world, and see God in everything and everyone. And it's not like a Disneyland fairy tale thing, but it's like a deeper understanding and inner knowing of self, and spirit starts to unfold. Because you can admire and be inspired by other people. They can also be, they can also affect your growth. But the way that your divine counterpart does it, like I said, is on a soul level. It's a deep transformation and inspiration that's activated. No one will be able to activate you like they will be, and vice versa. It's just a different thing. Because we'll come across different people in our soul tribe. It's 444. We'll come across people in our soul tribe. We'll come across other divine feminines and other divine masculines that we may fall in love with, or have an attraction for, or grow an admiration for. But it's different. So let's put it like this. So for example, you guys probably heard stories about a man or a woman who was like difficult with every other partner they had, that they wouldn't change, or they were unwilling to do better. They wouldn't marry them no matter what they did. They wouldn't change for them. But with the right person, they changed. Or the right person, they married them. They had a family. They settled down. They became a good man, good woman, whatever. It's because they were willing to do that. They had that desire to do that. Nobody can make you change, make you want to change. They can activate it, they could spark it, they could suggest it, but deep down inside, it's like it's up to you whether that's what you really want. It's up to you at the end of the day. The right one will spark that in you. It's something that's natural. It's not going to be forced upon the other person. It will never be that way. Nobody can force anyone to change. Romantic partner, parent, friend, job, whatever. But yes, there will be other divine masculines and feminines out there that you may come across, or you may have already come across them. I know that I've had before. I may have dated one or two that were quote unquote divine masculines, but they were not mine. It wasn't meant to happen. It wasn't meant to flow that way. But one way to know that you truly have met yours, Spirit guided me to read Genesis 2:22, and I thought it was interesting because I don't know that scripture. Like, I've heard the, Adam and Eve story and how God created Adam and Eve and such, but I never knew the exact scripture. So when I asked the question personally on my own, Spirit said go to Genesis 2:22, and I never heard, like I said, I didn't know. So I went to it, and the scripture is, and the rib which the Lord God had taken from man made he a woman and brought her unto the man. So how I took this is that how you'll know is that they'll come from the same fabric of your being. You'll be very similar. Like, you guys are almost like mirrors to each other, but you guys are different. You guys will physically look different. You may live different lifestyles, but your souls are very, very similar. It's a deep thing. It's not about, oh, you like this too, oh, I like that too. Like, you guys almost may even have the same mind, or a compatible mind or thinking. It just comes natural. It's not forced. It isn't, oh, I'm trying to make him like me, so I'm going to study what he's into, and vice versa. Oh, we like the same sports. Oh, you listen to so-and-so, so do I. It's deeper than that, than commonalities, because you can have that with friends, It's deeper. Then you have Genesis 23. I was guided to just go into the rest. It's Genesis 2:23. 2 and 23, sorry. It says, and Adam said, this is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. Shall she be called woman, because she was taken out of man? So what I took from that is there will be a recognition that you are one. You are both one. There will be that recognition that this person is a part of me and I'm a part of them. It's that Genesis 2 and 24. Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. So it's like the act of wanting to grow up and move towards union, wanting to come together with your partner to become one, whether that be in marriage, whether that just be preparing for that. It will be this desire to grow up. It will be a desire to detach from childlike things, to man up basically, or woman up. Um, this will be something that you'll do naturally. This is something you'll want to do, especially specifically mainly for the masculine. I feel like Genesis 2 and 25, and they were both naked, the man and his wife, and were not ashamed. So they were not ashamed to be naked amongst each other, which is vulnerability. That there will be a level of vulnerability and intimacy between the two of you that you haven't shared with any other person, and that you won't share with others. It's a sacred thing. So like things that I feel like I could tell my girlfriends, or you feel like you could tell your homeboys, it won't be the same, because with each other it's like you're an open book. You could share those things. You can cry in front of each other. You could, it's a thing. It's a natural vulnerable thing, an intimacy that you guys share with one another. um so yeah, that's I feel like that's one of ways you can tell me, because like spirit guided me to that for a reason. um but yeah, if you can't stand, strong, united, and tall and whole together, they're probably not a good match for you. Like, you should never feel like you have to compromise your divinity for another person, or feel bad for elevating or growing because your person is going to feel some type of way. And yes, it's natural for people to kind of feel like, a little envious, jealous, whatever. But if it's a constant thing, because what manipulators and toxic people do is they try to constantly tear you down, beat you up, tell you that you're not good enough, nobody's ever going to want you, you're too this, you're too that. And that's how, and this is also manifest, in family and friendships, or false friendships and toxic family members. They'll usually beat you down and try to, um, play you, make you feel like you don't have potential, that you'll never become this. That's how you know that partner is not a match for you, because we're supposed to thrive and grow together and build each other up. If I can't trust the person I sleep in the same bed with, or allow in my sacred space, if you know what I mean, I shouldn't be able, like, you talking down to me, like, you shouldn't even have the privilege to even be able to do that, you know, to even be in the same space as me, or sleep with me in the same bed, or have sex with me. Like, you should have no access to none of that if you can't support me and love me and have my back. Like, if I can't trust you, you're no bueno. You got to go. You got to go. um, yeah. So purpose. We touched on purpose. We touched on what divine is. Yeah. So the toxicity. A lot of us know that, and thank God for the toxicity, because we wouldn't know how to discern what is actually of good things. So your person will never intentionally weigh you down, nor try to hold you back from growing, or criticize you in a harsh way, ridicule you, throw stones at you worse than a hater up the street. Like, that's not your divine counterpart. Put their hands on you. No. Because spirit will never do that to you. With unconditional love, which that's what divine love is. It's divine. It's what God is. It's unconditional. It comes with honor and respect for those who we love. So when you truly honor and love and respect those around you, it speaks volumes. If you can't do that, if you can't even respect a person, and it's not even just people that are close to you, or your blood, or whatever, your partner, strangers, like, we don't like humanity. That's why humanity is so fucked up, because it's like, oh, well, I don't know them, oh, I'll never see them again, or oh, they just whatever, they're just such and such, they're black, or oh, they're just a woman, or oh, they're just a kid, or they're just a homeless person, and there's no humanity. That's another thing too. Um, if you find this person, like if you find yourself believing this person to be the one, but it doesn't align with what your heart is telling you about this person, you may be projecting your truth onto this person. So like in your heart, you're like, oh, I feel like this is the one because I feel like he's sweet. I feel like he's special, or he has something about him, or oh, I feel like she's this and she's that, but they don't match that. It's a projection. It's like that false potential. Like if this person isn't working their way up to that, like they're not actively growing, then you're just looking at what you want to see and making excuses to just stay in that. You're not seeing an evolution process. You're not seeing a growth in this person. Then you're basically just projecting your own desires onto that person. Yeah, because it's like we're not all perfect. That's the thing. And I don't want people to get this, because we're human at the end of the day still. You know, we have the higher self or we have the lower self that meet. So naturally, we have things about us that are not seemingly perfect, where we have room for improvements and things like that. But again, that's where it goes back to a person that is wanting to improve, a person that is disciplined, that is active in their humbleness and accountability. That goes a long way. Like you both have to be actively wanting to improve and be disciplined in that, be humble enough to work on yourself and take accountability for the areas where you might need work. Um, it's also with saying too that self-sufficient thing, though we're so connected, we're not responsible for each other's happiness. I'm not responsible for making you happy or keeping you happy. Yes, I want to add to your happiness and add to your joy and your growth and your peace, but I'm not responsible for that. Like that's something that is an inside job for me and for you. um So being committed, being honorable, being trustworthy, honest, loyal, and accountable towards yourself, it ensures that you can do the same with others. So if this person is not someone that is committed to anything, they have a hard time committing to something, they're not honoring themselves, they don't even trust themselves, they are dishonest with themselves, disloyal to themselves, they don't take accountability, they're not naturally going to take up those qualities with others. So, or with self, if that's something you got to work on with yourself, you know, you got to be honest in that. Because this comes with realistic stuff too. You can't just look at, oh, it's spiritual and oh, God's bringing us together, the universe, or this is just such a red string of fate type of thing. It also does like logical, practical, rational things that come along with having and sustaining a connection, a healthy connection. But you got to be healthy within yourself and maintain that. And it's not to say that spirit can't put you guys together with some things that you still might need to work on. But it's all about, again, the discipline, being honorable towards yourself, being committed towards yourself and disciplined. Um, Also to remind yourself that you guys may or may not share the same values or all of the same values at least. But it's the respect of each other that's key. So if your person values um, someone that is punctual, and you might be like, well, I understand if people, you know, bend time or not able to meet, you know, certain things. Your person, that irritates them, that's something that really gets to them. You got to honor, okay, well, my mate values punctuality. Okay. Um, if yours is being sensitive or being compassionate, like say for instance you're used to, like you have a thing where you were wounded where you would feel some type of way about expressing yourself without the fear of somebody judging you or laughing at you. So if your person doesn't respect that value and they laugh when you tell them something very personal, it's like, okay, well, you don't respect my value. So it's like you guys have to learn to respect each other, your different values and perspectives, because you guys are not meant to be carbon copies. Like your soul essence, your core, your soul is stemmed from love. you both come from a place of love and compassion and truth. But that doesn't mean your values are going to be exactly the same, or your perspectives of life are going to be the same. So he made us unique. Divine Spirit made us uniquely and significantly made, so that we can complement each other, and also what we're meant to bring forth into the world. We're not meant to be carbon copies of one another. It's not the thing. So whatever the other person lacks, the other person is strong, and vice versa. So it's like that's the building each other up thing again. So also, this is another thing too that's significant. As a feminine energy, as a woman, you naturally have the instinct to be nurturing, to be kind, patient, forgiving, and supportive of others. So this is where feminine energy has to find that balance, because when it's in its shadow, it could look like neediness, taking on others' responsibilities, making excuses for others, being taken advantage of, being emotionally manipulative, emotionally imbalanced, anxious. There could also be manifestations of both the divine feminine and masculine taking on reverse roles. So as we both have feminine and masculine principles within ourselves, feminine operating in that false masculinity as well can also happen, because there's some feminines that are used to being the governors of their own lives. They don't trust men. They don't trust masculine authorities due to abuse and experiences, and a lot of programming in media and social, So same goes with masculine. They can also operate in their lower femininity as well. So we wonder, you gotta think about this, because I see it too often. There's always this clash when it comes to these divine connections at some point, because there's a lack of flow there, because the roles that both the divine feminine and masculine were divinely given are not balanced. So it's it's out of order for the feminine to always try to take control and push the masculine, when the masculine is meant to be the lead. So we all are leaders in our own right, in our own positions, but it's certain things where the masculine should be doing, the feminine tries to step in and do that. And that's where the clashing comes in. That's where the frustration comes in. And the masculine also not being in the flow of their authority and their leadership position. But I see a lot of people forcing movement, and I'm not going to say that I haven't been a victim of it, of forcing movement and trying to wake somebody up, or trying to get the connection to go how we think it should go. But it's out of order for feminine energy, because feminine energy is the essence of flow. It's an internal power and essence that feminine represents. The masculine is the external energy. But you got to have balance and know when to use that masculine energy within yourself, as masculine has to know when to utilize their feminine energy. So it's not to say that, like I said, feminine, you guys are not meant to be in authority or leadership, but it's in your natural state of being to lead in a way, not in the forceful pushing, trying to manipulate and control and strategize out of a state of imbalance without using your internal compass, because again, you are an internal energy. You are the womb. So same for the masculines. Masculine is to be the planner, to be the structured one, the grounded leader, the one that provides in multiple ways and protects. So there's passive masculines as well. Some of them, they have the fear of moving and leading, not just in this connection, but their own lives. So the shadows of that is the false sense of authority, could be rigidness, abusing their power, not taking accountability, being out of control with actions and decisions, imbalanced decision making and strategies and stuff like that. And all of this stagnates the process as well. So it's like, in order for you guys, for this unit to work successfully, you both have to understand what your roles are in your connection, what your positions are, what your responsibilities are within the connection. Otherwise, it's just going to be out of alignment. It can't be two people in the jungle fighting for this position and that position. You got to know where you stand. So also, definitely during separation too, you're responsible when you're in separation, where you're not in union with your person, or say you have never met your person, you don't know that they exist, but you know that you are divine, or you have the desire to make in a divine encounter, um, divine connection, excuse me. In your separation, you're responsible, you and your person are responsible for your own growth and responsibilities, just as you would be in your connection together. You are responsible for your own self, your own growth. So there's divine order already in the midst working. So it's like you don't have to take on the roles that spirit's supposed to be taking on, and your spiritual team is taking on, and your person's taking on, and vice versa. So it's, you got to worry about yourself. You can't worry about what the left or the right hand is doing. So say for instance, say you're in a factory, you work in a factory, you and your counterpart, and you have a position to assemble devices, and your person is someone that works with the stocks or whatever, the stocking management. Um, Essentially, you guys are working for the same company, right? But your roles are different in order to get that job done, to get, to keep the company moving, right? So if the other is worried about if the other is doing the work, it distracts them from getting their job done, and it distracts you from getting your job done. So say the higher ups catch one of you guys slipping on your job, you guys are not doing what you're supposed to be doing, they can give you a warning, like, okay, we're going to give you a warning that this is something that you're supposed to be working on. I might throw a trigger in there to get you back in alignment, back in the path to what you're supposed to be doing, or I'll pull this person away out of your life, I'll stop all phone calls or whatever, I'll throw in maybe something to trigger you, right? If you guys continue, on your job, like, this is what happens at jobs, right? If you continue to do things, they write you up, right? They give you some type of strike or something, or they may even send you home if they feel like you're not in a good space. So spirit is like, okay, I'm about to send you home, and we're gonna keep note that you need to work on something within yourself. Um, and take your focus off of this connection in this person in order to get you to go within yourself. So if you're distracted, they will remove certain distractions, including this person, so that you have no choice but to do what you're guided to do and focus on what you're guided to work on. So it's like saying, can you handle the job? Can you handle this? Because if not, we need you to reevaluate yourself, you know, um, AKA not being ready, it's not being ready for union, basically. So, in short, Spirit is saying stop trying to take the place of the divine team's positions. Who's, let's go back to the job, example, that they stand in the position as the managers, as the supervisors, and as the CEO of this connection. It's okay, to care about your person, or to check in with them and wonder what if they're okay and all of that, or wanting to even be the helping hand in some instance. But it's not your job to, worry or add worry to yourself by this false sense of control and micromanaging something when you have your own responsibility, they have theirs, and spirit has theirs. Because it goes back again, if a person wants to grow, they want to do what they're supposed to do, they're going to do it. And you can't force your person to do anything, and they can't with you. Because it will be like, it's an energy of resentment when you have someone that's like, oh, I thought she was going to do this and you didn't do that. And it's like, oh, shit, well, I'll do it. Fuck, I'll do it. And it's like that resentment, right? So you don't ever want to feel like that or make your person feel like that. It's an energy of respect. These people, they're not objects like, oh, that's my masculine. It's not a ownership thing. You know what I mean? It's a respect. it's an honor. It's a gratitude thing to be connected to each other. It's not something that you should take egotistical pride in and feel like you got to tell everybody, oh, that's my master, oh, this is my, oh, you're mine. And if you got to do all of that, something is wrong. So I hope that this helped people, or give them, shed light or confirmations, what have you. This is just what spirit led me to. So it may resonate, it may not resonate. Yeah. So the work is never ending with these unions, these connections. You can meet your one, your divine counterpart, but it's always something to improve in yourself, to work together. You guys are going to have moments where y'all clash just like normal human beings, but that love is there, that integrity is there. You got that divine support and help there. It's going to get you guys through. So it's a blessing to be able to have someone that you are divinely connected to, that is your divine help, your divine consort or whatever. But it's not for you to abuse power. It's not meant for you to manipulate, to control, to obsess, and to worry, because that would be adding those elements of toxicity back into something that's meant to be divine. So it's all about navigating ourselves and checking ourselves, throughout the process, and doing better and being compassionate for ourselves as well. Like, the relationship with ourselves got to be 100 before it can be 100 with another person. Okay, so my live was interrupted because of the heat. My phone overheated, but I'm done anyway. So hopefully this message helps somebody, and I'll catch you guys soon. Much love as always. Be blessed. Take care. Peace.